Hey, this is Tim from bringing you words of grace from middle of 52 acres in Brooklyn. 52 acres of gardens, Brooklyn Botanic Gardens, one of my favorite spots to visit in New York City. This is one of my favorite parts of the gardens here. This is their bonsai collection, and they have 40, 50, 60-year-old bonsais in here. Just a beautiful collection. And I love this spot. This is my favorite spot. One of my favorite spots in New York, this bonsai collection. I brought you here for a reason. I want to illustrate a point. I want to give a few videos to this because recently Sutherland Springs First Baptist Church, we had just a horrible tragedy. And so I want to take a moment to think about that question: why do bad things happen? Why does bad stuff happen to me? All right, why does bad stuff happen? And so we'll be answering this in a few different videos, and there are answers though. I don't think the answers give any perfect solution to the pain. Whenever bad stuff happens, it continues to bring pain to us, but it helps us think correctly about God and our surroundings. And so this first one I really want to talk about based on what we've recently come across. Bad stuff does happen because there are bad people. Bad people do bad things, and so that is one big reason why bad stuff happens to us. Bad things happen to me because bad people do bad things. Bad things happen to you because bad people do bad things. So let's just use this as an illustration here. Let's say you and I came into this bonsai garden and we found that it wasn't set up beautifully like this, but someone had come through and torn down the tables and knocked over the pots and cut up the trees and killed everything. It'd be horrible, right? We would think, that's rotten. But what if you and I are standing there and all of a sudden I get angry, very angry, and start screaming, who's in charge here? Who's the manager? Who created these things? Who are the artists that spent 60 years of their life making these? And who can I sue for making this place and for putting these plants here? Start yelling and finding the person in charge and railing him out for allowing this to happen. What would you think of it? You'd say, you're finding fault the wrong place. The person at fault was the person who actually did this, not the person who made it and managed it. It's easy to see when we're talking about these beautiful trees, but it's the same in life. A lot of people try to fault God every time a bad thing happens, when some of these bad things, as we'll talk about a lot of different answers, but some of these bad things are because bad people do them. And the person to find fault with is not God, but with the person who is responsible. So, James, Jesus' half-brother, said that God, not only that he can't do evil, but he cannot be tempted with evil. Right? So God does not do evil. When bad stuff happens, it's not God who is the primary cause of that. In fact, it later on says, another word of grace, that every good and perfect gift comes from above. Not only is God not an author of evil, but he is the author of every good thing that ever happens to you. Its ultimate source is God, our great God. Two other quick thoughts about that. Our God is so great that he can actually use tragedy and badness for good. The greatest example of that is, of course, the gospel of the cross, where bad people did a bad thing, nailing Jesus to wood, killing him. But God, his Father, God the Father, meant that for good. He actually superimposed, and through those bad people did the greatest amount of good ever taken. That was murder. And yet God used murder for good to bring salvation to all who will believe. So some of the greatest tragedies God can use for greatest good. He can do the same in your life, and we trust him with that. Also, he will bring into account these bad people. These bad people will be brought to justice. It may be a day, it may be 100 years, but they will be brought to justice. Just because God doesn't immediately punish the bad people, sometimes he does, it doesn't mean he condones it. He will hold them accountable. So when bad things happen to you, let me first of all encourage you to think God's thoughts this way. Bad stuff happens sometimes because bad people do bad things, even to good people. Let's not fault the creator, the maker, the manager. Let's fault the doer. Please join in next time when we'll take another answer to this. Why do bad things happen to me? Well, bad things happen because they're bad people. But there are other answers too. So please subscribe. Please take another minute of your day and listen to the other answers as well. Thank you. Have a great day.